How's it going, guys? This is Wyatt with MG Construction, and today we're going to do another video on Studio Shed. We're going to be talking about the rough electrical in Studio Shed, okay? This is very similar to the electrical, just like everything, all the other components in this, to your house, okay? To a new build house, we're doing the same thing. So we're going to go through everything that has to do with the electrical. We're also going to talk about networking and stuff like that. First is first. If this is going to be a permitted project, this is 10 by 12. We are still pulling the electrical permit, correct? The larger ones are going to be an overall permit and everything. But when you permit this and go for electrical, you need to make sure that your outlet locations, your switch locations are exactly to plan. That's the one thing I'm going to come up with. When you start deviating from the plan, some inspectors don't care, okay, right? So they won't even look at the electrical plan, whatever. But some are sticklers, and they want everything to the exact location and T that is on the plan. So when you guys plan it out and lay out your outlets and your switches and your network boxes, make sure you're thinking about where your desk is going to be, where, certain like lamps and certain elements you may want in here that need power. You want to make sure that you have accessible power there. It's not going to be a problem. You're not going to have to bring a cord all the way across the shed, stuff like that. Okay. So you really want to think about it, lay it down. The plan is the plan because, one, that's also what we're working off of. And so we want an exact plan so that our guys can come in here, look at it, boom, 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 lay it out, done. On top of electrical, a lot of people, and I do recommend it, will have Cat 6 and internet sent to the shed. I truly recommend it. A lot of people believe that the Wi-Fi is from their home is going to be long enough and stuff. And usually it is for your phone and for small stuff. But if you're using this in an office and you're downloading large files, you're doing Zoom calls with a lot of bandwidth and stuff, you want a wired connection in here. I have come back at least to 2 or 3 projects when I first started doing these and put in internet. So for now on, I always bring that up. And I always tell people this is the time to do it. In this one also with the Cat 6, because it doesn't interfere or anything, we are also running fiber optic through it too. So we're pretty much future-proofing this in case we want to add fiber optic from the fiber optic that's already in the house. We can connect to that in the future and bring fiber optic, faster internet speeds and stuff to the shed, other than just doing it with Cat 6. Same with these. You want to make sure that you have these laid out in your plan. You want to make sure that these are where the router is going to be, the desk is going to be, the computer. You want this to be in a good spot. Okay, so don't forget about networking. Also do your boxes and all your networking stuff. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go outside to the panel, and I'm going to show you the panel and everything like that. Maybe before that, I'm just going to show you a quick overview of all the rough electrical and stuff like that. And then, like I said, we're going to go out to the panel. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so just a quick walk around of the rough electrical. All the 12-2 is for all your outlets. This will be a 20 amp circuit. Okay, this is a network and power double gang box. Okay, so we have that there. This here, the middle box there is a smoke alarm. These wires hanging are for the halo can. So this is the lighting circuit. And then we come to our switch here. We have power, the inside lights, and then the outside lights. In the kit, the outside lights are not dimmable. The inside ones come with a dimmer switch. If you want the outside to be dimmable, just get me a dimmer switch and I will replace it in there. This will also get nail plated so that we don't put any holes in the wires when we're putting in sheetrock and everything like that, but I just haven't gotten the nail plates yet. So let's go out to the panel. All right, guys, here we are at the sub panel. It is a outside mounted sub panel. Okay, it's all waterproof and everything. And then all our circuits from inside will come into this. On top of that, you can have it in the wall. This one's not going to be in the wall, but there will be a conduit, 1.25 inch conduit coming from here into the ground, underground, going to the main house panel. Okay, and that's how we're going to get power here. There's 2 ways you can do it. Some municipalities like to have the sub panel grounded. Some codes say the ground at the panel. I've never been called on either or, but it just depends how large the run is and stuff like that. And there's a few things that depend, but I usually ground out to the home panel so that we don't have to add a ground rod out here. But like I said, every so often, an inspector asks to throw a ground rod in. It is what it is. You know, things are changing over time, and pretty much cities and inspectors catch up as that time goes on. This will be powered with 50 amps from the house. That's standard. Now, this is a 100 amp panel. On another project where we have multiple sheds on the property and stuff, we have one panel that is powered with 100 amps and then feeding the other stuff. Okay. So if you really want to future-proof it, truly want to future-proof it, you could power this with 100 amps or at least run the 2-inch conduit so that you could replace the wires at a certain point and upgrade to 100 amps. If you only do 50 amps, we run number 6 wire with a number 8 ground. And then if you do 100 amps, we're upping the size of the conduit, we're upping the size of the wire, and the 100 amps will for sure have a ground rod here and be grounded right at the shed, just because of the amperage size and all that stuff. So that I definitely know would be asked for by the inspector. So those are the two, pretty much the things you can do with those. These are the breakers that come with it. There's two 20 amp breakers and one 15 amp. The 15 amp will power the lights, the white wire, and the 20 amps will power 2 circuits on each side of the shed. So the left side of the shed is a separate outlet circuit. The right side of the shed is a separate outlet circuit. And then on one of those circuits, the smoke alarm is connected. Okay. And that's to help just with, no power overloads and stuff like that. If one side of the shed goes down for some reason, you trip it with a space heater or something like that, your desk and your computers and stuff won't go down on the other side. That's why I wire it up that way. And then also there will be, depending, you can always say no, but there will be an outdoor outlet. I on the electrical plan, it's on the side, but I always put it at the panel because usually the panel is furthest from the house. So you want to have an outlet that's furthest from the house. So if you're doing work around here, yard work, whatever, you have a nice outlet in the back, furthest from your property, you know what I mean? So that you don't have to worry or anything like that. But that's pretty much the outdoor panel. Nothing too special. I still have to wire this up, get all the breakers in, get the main line in, and put the cover on and stuff like that. But I just wanted to explain what you could do. You could either do 50 amps, 100 amps, and then also, even with 50 amps, I still have enough power and everything to put in my dual pull 15 amps breaker for HVAC system and stuff like that. Even when I put HVAC systems in, like this one we're going to do, I never have any power issues at 50 amps. But like I said, if you want to future-proof it and always have that power there, you can always power this with 100 amps. Again, as long as the load calculations work out on your main home panel, you're good to go. So guys, I hope you like this quick rundown on rough electrical and everything like that. I might do one on the finished stuff. It's nothing too crazy, but just to show you guys what the outdoor lights look like, what the outlets look like and everything. But this is the rough electrical of the studio sheds. It is essentially what's exactly done in your home, and especially the bigger ADUs, 1,000 square foot, the 2-bed, 2-bath, 1-bed, 1-bath, the studios, all that stuff, wired just like a new build home. Okay. So there is nothing that is subpar. There's nothing that is done in a half-ass way or anything like that. People, again, the name studio shed sometimes has a negative connotation to it on the product. Once people see the product and see it going up, they understand the quality of it and they understand the value they're getting, because it looks just like your custom build home. Okay. And that's exactly what we're going for here. We want to bring this type of quality, speed, and price point to Americans everywhere. So if you guys, think we're like half-assing it in electrical, you guys can go look at the other prefabricated people. Okay. I'm not going to name names because legal stuff, but like our biggest kind of competition here in the Bay Area, they make their prefabrication modules like a McDonald's, dude. Metal studs, MC cable, PEX piping. Okay, no. We build like I learned in Marin County, custom like quality building. If I'm putting water in here and everything, I'm not running PEX, I'm running copper. Okay, I'm not cheaping out on this. This shed right here, people go, how long is this supposed to last? 10 years? Add a zero to that. Every time I put one of these on, I want it to last 100 years minimum. Okay, I live in a 100-year-old house, and I believe that these are built better than that 100-year-old house. So I think we will reach 100 years lifespan on these things without an issue, in my opinion. But that's Rough Electrical. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one.